Welcome back to another episode of The Road Chose Me. And today I'm going to do something and talk about a topic that is not at all glamorous. And this is the kind of stuff that you are never going to hear about at Overland shows. You'll never read about this in Overland magazines because these aren't products made by big companies who can sell you stuff and make a lot of money. So what I'm going to go over today is 5 simple little inexpensive things that you don't want to forget to bring with you once you're overlanding transitions from kind of weekends and week-long trips into more long-term. So if you're on the road for months, especially if you're on the road for years, these 5 little things, they're going to help you keep your vehicle running tip-top, they're going to help you keep yourself run tip-top, and all of your gear as well in tip-top condition. And these little things, they might seem kind of insignificant because here in North America or in Australia, you can just nip to the store and buy them really easily. But I can tell you from experience, these are the kinds of things that are really hard to find once you go internationally. In fact, in the Congo, I bet you could spend a week and not even find these things. So if you're looking at heading down the Pan American Highway, if you're going to go across Central Asia or into Africa, have a think about these 5 little things that you want to bring with you because they're going to make your trip all that more enjoyable, and you'll get to spend more time actually enjoying yourself and less time running around cities trying to buy little things so you can repair your gear. So let's get right into it. Here are 5 small items you don't want to leave home without once you set out on a long-term expedition. So the first item on my list is some kind of knife sharpener. And you know, I love to cook all of my own food. That's why I built this whole kitchen. I've got my kitchen knives here, but after a few months on the road, I figured out how useless they are when they're not sharp. And when I'm cutting up vegetables and meat, I love to have sharp knives. It makes cooking that much more enjoyable for me. And I did actually spend a long time in Senegal, Guinea, and Mali trying to buy a knife sharpener or even a sharpening stone, and I just couldn't find one. I don't really have the skills to use a sharpening stone properly, so this thing is really simple to use. You just slide it across the knife about 10 or 15 times and it actually makes it really, really sharp. I've had this thing now since nearly the beginning of Africa. This one's called an Accu Sharp and I really like it. I'll throw a link down in the description where you can buy it on Amazon, but absolutely don't forget to bring a small and simple knife sharpener with you. It'll make cooking that much more enjoyable. The second item you really don't want to forget on a longer term trip is some graphite lubricant that you're going to put in your locks. And so, you know, we're going across deserts, we're going through really dry environments. You get a lot of dust in all of your gear and the locks on your vehicle are going to suffer for that. So the first little Jeep that I drove to Argentina, I put this in the door locks about every 3 or 6 months and it made a huge difference to how well they worked. I really did use the key in that Jeep to lock and unlock the rear tailgate especially. This Jeep has keyless entry, so I don't actually use the locks that are on the Jeep other than all the ones that I added. The glove box, the lock boxes, the hood lock, the cable lock I've got on all the gear on the back here. All of those get extremely dusty, therefore dry. And this graphite, it's designed for locks and it really keeps them running smoothly and it stops them jamming. And actually by the time I got down to, I was in Benin, some of the locks on my lock boxes were already starting to jam until I put this in them. And then so after that, I made it part of my regular maintenance every 10,000 kilometers or 6,000 miles. When I was doing a tire rotation and oil change, I lubricated all of the locks that are around the Jeep. So simple little thing, tiny and light, couple of dollars. Again, I'll put a link down the bottom, but graphite lubricant for your locks, it's going to keep them working properly. Next thing on the list, I'm going to get even less glamorous and I'm going to say, don't forget some nail clippers so you can trim your fingernails and your toenails. And yeah, when we're going out for a weekend or a week, we obviously pack the toothbrush, but nail clippers isn't something you think about, but it really becomes important when you're on the road for a long time. And I actually lost mine when I was in Argentina, and it was really hard to try and buy them, partly because I don't know how to say those words in Spanish, but also because it's just not a common item that they're expecting foreigners to be looking for. So it starts to be a real pain in the neck to try and buy little things like this. So nail clippers, obviously it is something you need when you're on the move for months and months. Throw them in your toiletries bag, don't forget to bring them. Next thing on the list is a small sewing kit so you can repair your clothes and anything else that needs to get sewn up. So in this little kit, I've got an assortment of needles and threads, I've got twine, I've got safety pins, kind of a whole bunch of stuff I've collected over the years. And again, you know, you're in the middle of nowhere, your clothes are gonna start getting some wear and tear, and it's really nice to be able to repair them. I remember distinctly the day before I saw the gorillas in Uganda, I sat in the afternoon sunshine and I sewed up a big rip that had developed in my sleeping bag. And so without my little sewing kit, all the stuffing would have come out of my sleeping bag, and that'd be a huge problem because even if you can find one in Uganda, it's gonna be really expensive. So to be able to repair your own stuff, again, is really important. It's gonna save you money and it brings you a certain happiness, you know, that you can repair these things instead of just throwing them out. So a small sewing kit, definitely worth bringing with you along the road. And then the final item on my 5 list is a couple of things to try and keep yourself fit and healthy. And you know, the reality of overlanding is we are spending a lot of hours driving our vehicles. I try only to drive for an hour or 2 a day, but when that stretches out to years on the road, that's a lot of time just sitting in the driver's seat. So what I've got a small foam roller here. I really like rolling out my back in the evenings after driving. And I've just got a small stretchy resistance band, you know, the kind you can stretch and stretch out behind my shoulder blades, I find really nice. And I also just use my towel to lay on the ground so I can roll around and stretch. I know a lot of people like to bring a yoga mat as well, and that's probably something I would bring next time. So these things are light. Unfortunately, the foam roller is kind of bulky. It does take up a bit of space inside. I did find a good place to tuck it, but given how light it is and how much it makes me feel better to roll out my back after a day of driving, I'm gonna say it's essential to have a couple of things to try and keep yourself feeling fit and strong and healthy. Because after all, if you don't feel good on the road, you're not gonna enjoy your trip, and there's no point going on the road in the first place. So what do you think about my 5 little items? Were you gonna forget some of those when you set out on your big trip? I know I did, and it was a pain in the neck to try and get them. So I hope this helps you guys and it makes your trips just that much more enjoyable and you get to have more fun instead of dealing with all this annoying stuff. So let me know down in the comments if this kind of content is helpful for you and what else you're looking to learn about long-term overlanding trips. Again, I want to give a big shout out to my supporters on Patreon. They're helping to make these videos come to life. Without them, I wouldn't be able to do this, so I really owe them a huge thanks. If you're thinking about supporting, check out the link down in the description. You can check out the perks that you get, and you'll be helping me to do this and teach you guys what's needed for big overland trips. So until next time, stay safe, and maybe I'll bump into you on the road.